welcome to another episode of Bring Me Your Torch. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Elaine.
And we have a very special guest. She's my favorite nerd, and I'm hoping she's yours.
Oh,
The one, the
yeah.
only, Raychelle from King of the Nerds.
Yay!
Let's give her a call.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. Just a little cold out here, but other than that, I can't complain.
I know. I just was talking about how my dogs had to run through the snow, so I felt bad because their little feet's cold.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us today. And I'm a big fan of the show. I know we both are.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it airs 9 o'clock on Fridays at TBS. Can you tell us a little bit about the show and a little bit about yourself, too?
Yeah, absolutely. So the show just basically takes a big group of nerds and puts us all in a house together. And then we all get to do a whole bunch of competitions versus teams. And then after each competition, whichever team won gets to pick somebody to go in what we call a nerd off, which is like a one-on-one challenge. And two people from the losing team go in and one survives. And basically we compete for $100,000 and it's a lot of fun. And I'm just a big nerd all around. Like I used to tutor in math and science in high school and college. And then on top of that, I cosplay. A very popular cosplay that I do is a pony, Princess Celestia from My Little Pony. So that's been a big hit. And I do lots of other cosplays and play a lot of video games, and have a giant like Disney and horror collection and have them all memorized and like silly things. But basically it's just the fact that I strategically like plan out each video game. Like I have a pie chart right now in my room on my marker board for the game Don't Starve, which is literally a game where you walk around and like chop down trees and try to live in a wilderness and trap your animals and stuff. And I have a whole grid set up for like what's going to give me the most health and what's going to give me sanity and stomach. Like it's really ridiculous. So that's one of the reasons they put me on this show, is just because that's what they do. Nerds obsess over things and, figure out how to do everything. So
I had a roommate who played video games, though I think it may have been different. He played Call of Duty, and he was for 7 or 8 hours a day screaming at someone on the other side of there. And I'm trying to sleep, and all I hear is, "Your mom sucks. I'm like, oh, my God, stop it."
Yeah, so Call of Duty and Halo, I like to say that those are very similar. I will say that they're only similar in the fact that it is a first-person shooter and you shoot guns. Other than that, the stories are not anything alike, because people will kill me if I say that they are the same game. But I never got into Call of Duty because I used to play Halo. And when you play Halo, people are so intense and they yell at you and it's awful. And I'm just like, I can't get better if you're yelling at me. So I guess I'm just going to shoot aliens on my own time and I don't have to be yelled at by you anymore. So I'm done. So kudos for him.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
how'd you get involved with the show though? Did you just see it from past seasons, or were you online and like, oh, this would be really cool?
Yeah, funny story is there was a Sony PlayStation Network show called The Tester, and a lot of people that hear about King of the Nerds hear about this and they laugh about it, and they're like, apparently you have to be on The Tester before you can get on King of the Nerds, because every season of King of the Nerds has had somebody from The Tester on it. So that's fun. I was on The Tester season 2, and I knew Danielle, who was on King of the Nerds season 1. And so she posted about it and I watched it and fell in love. And so I tried out for season 2, but I was working full time and I was really lazy. So they wrote me back and they really liked my audition video and they asked me to make a longer one. So instead of making a new one, I just sent them my unedited version of the first one and they didn't call me back. So for season 3, I tried a little bit harder. So.
Well, I actually like the unedited versions. I always think you'll see more of your personality that way than if you try to make it nice and look pretty.
Right. What's fun is hopefully eventually they'll release our audition videos. But one of the things I did with mine is it can only be 5 minutes long. So I actually left in all the stuff that normally people would cut out, which is like my outtakes or like me being ridiculous. I just left that in. And I think that's one of the reasons that they like me, is because I just left all this ridiculousness in.
They fell in love with you.
Well, we just saw with the SNL 40th anniversary, they showed all of the auditions from all those old cast people. No one cared back then, and now they're gold, so you never know.
Right. I know. I care. I care about my audition tape.
Well, I think it's funny. The last few years, there's really been a nerd and a geek renaissance, kind of like a golden age. And I always consider myself more of a geek. I remember the comic books, Game of Thrones. Where's the geek slash nerd line? Where does it cross over? What's the difference, do you think? And when did you start, I guess, calling yourself a nerd?
Well, so to be fair, like when it's geek versus nerd to me, I don't know. When I talk to a lot of people will say that like geeks are more kind of like you said, like comic books. But I also hear a lot of the times where people will try to say that geeks are more like mathematically smart, where nerds are more like scientifically smart, which I don't know like what necessarily constitutes as either one, because I've been called a geek and a nerd both a billion times for millions of different reasons. So to me, I'm just kind of like, here's the thing, like just be proud of who you are. And the reason that I love geeks and nerds both is that most of the time we've all experienced bullying. And so we don't want to feel like that with each other. We don't want to do that to each other. And so that's why I like going to cons, because everybody's so accepting. Like literally you can walk around like a pony and people don't take pictures and mock you. People take pictures because they love it. So that's what I really like. That being said, there's always like the elitists out there that will be like, it's not good enough, or they'll, there's a bully everywhere. I mean, no matter what group you're in, there's always going to be somebody out there. But most of the time, everybody is like really nice and accepting. So I don't really know the exact difference between geeks and nerds. But as far as calling myself a nerd, like literally since I was little, people have just been calling me a nerd. So I just kind of took it like, I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm a nerd then. I don't know. And my grandma, like a couple times, we actually talked to a few girls on the show about it, because my grandma, right before I went on the show, she was like, I just think you're too pretty to be a nerd. I just don't understand. And I'm like, that's why in one of my interviews, I'm like, not every nerd has to dress weird and like be, obviously I clearly say awkward things on the show. Like, I know it looks like the camera does a very nice job making it look like none of us were uncomfortable, because we were all like totally out of our comfort zone and super awkward multiple times. Like not everybody yells nipples when they hear about William Shatner. So probably the fact that I'm a little bit socially awkward.
Well, you totally mentioned what I love about the show a little earlier in that response, is that this show is really all about being yourself and not being ashamed of being a nerd. And I think there are a lot of things that people just don't want to talk about. Up until when Iron Man came out, people didn't go around talking about reading comic books because it wasn't cool. Now everybody wants to be into comic books. Now everybody wants to go see those movies. So it's important to be who you are, and the show really pushes that.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things that I always tell people to embrace, because a lot of people are getting caught up in the whole, like, you're not a nerd or prove your nerd cred. That's why I love Heather for being like, it's not about proving our nerd cred, because it's not. Like, people are getting so caught up on that because it's almost like people are threatened because so many people want to be geeks now or want to be nerds because apparently it's cool to be a nerd. But I mean, here's the thing, like, it's cool to be yourself. I mean, like, honestly, like it is. And so if you're a nerd, embrace it. If you're not and you're faking it, like, whatever. I mean, if that's what makes you feel good to make you feel good, then fine. I mean, whatever, teach their own. But I just feel like, why tell everybody to prove their nerd cred, or why push everybody away? Like, I don't know. Here's me, My Little Pony, friendship is magic. Like, seriously, like, I'm all accepting. I don't care. If you're a jock pretending to be a nerd, cool. Then hopefully I can show you some really cool shit that you probably missed out on like 10 years ago. So,
That's
whatever.
awesome.
I welcome you.
That's like one of the things I like the best about the show is the camaraderie between you guys. I mean, obviously it's a reality TV show. There's still the lying and the backstabbing, but when it comes down to it, you guys seem to really have each other's backs, which I like. Is that really how it was in the house?
Oh my gosh. Like, what? I just wish you guys could see what you don't get to see. I mean, seriously, we were best friends. Like, everybody asks, how did they not know about the Secret Six or the Sinister Six? Like, how did they not know? And it's because, like, I think a lot of people are getting this impression from us that we treated other people badly, and we didn't. That's why they didn't know about it, because we never treated anybody badly. That was only to help us stay to the end of the game. Like, that's the point. It was never to, not include someone or not. It was never about that. And I mean, in fact, like, I was making alliances all over the house, because I said, even in my intro video, like, I'm not scared to make an alliance with everybody in the house because it helps. So, I mean, it really, really, really was us all being best friends, to the fact where the producers at one point were like, stop referring to each other as friends. This is a competition. Do you guys remember there's $100,000 on the line? And we're like, of course. And of course we want to win. But if I don't win, I want this person to win. Like, literally, we fell in love with each other day one. It was so ridiculous. It was unreal, like, our connection with each other.
Great. We didn't mention this yet to people who haven't seen the show. It's hosted by Curtis Armstrong and Robert Carradine. They played very famously Booger and Lewis in The Revenge of the Nerds. How awesome is it to meet them? And do you get to spend any time with them outside of the competition? Did you get to know them at all?
Well, during the show, you don't get to talk to them at all. In fact, like, if they catch you guys kind of talking, because Curtis, God, guys, Curtis is the sweetest person in the entire universe. I'm serious. And so, like, on camera or, like, during pauses, he would, like, wave or, like, come in and smile. And it was so cute. And sometimes, like, there was a few times during some of the past episodes where Curtis had matching shirts with somebody else. And so we were like, come take a picture with us. Like, it was really, really cute. And he was totally wanting to be involved. And, I mean, Bobby was always super friendly, too. But they could not talk to us during filming. But as soon as filming wrapped up, we had that premiere party. I don't know if you guys heard, but we all got to go out and go to LA. We had to pay for our own tickets, but we all went, and we went out to a premiere party and got to watch it all together and live tweet together. And it was really awesome. And Curtis and Bobby were both there, and they are amazing. And then Curtis, like, had a little party for all the nerds at his place. And I mean, he's just so accepting. So, like, he's literally like a father we've never had. I mean, to all of us, like, he is amazing. And Bobby's just a bundle of joy. He is so much fun to meet because he's almost more awkward than a lot of us. Like, he will just not talk. He will just be silent. But it's really funny. And his wife likes to, like, you can tell who talks more in the relationship. So his wife will be like, well, you guys are our favorite. We love you and you're amazing. And but yeah, point is it was so cool to meet them. Like, so cool.
When I think I told you this on Twitter, I always had a closest to Bobby just because his character's name was Louis Skolnick, and my last name is Skolnick, and my great-grandfather's name was Louis Skolnick. I'm like, it's basically the same thing. I'm an honorary nerd.
You guys are, like, distantly related in a weird fictional character type of way.
He was my famous relative growing up, even though we're not related, basically.
Almost.
Almost. You're almost there, though. It's more of a connection than a lot of us had. We were on the show with him, so.
Well, I thought Jesse was actually lying when he said that the whole My Little Pony thing was coming back and making a huge, comeback. But so what's up with that? Can you tell us a little bit about, like, the bronies and what that is exactly?
Absolutely. So it's really funny that is become such a big deal. But the thing about, like, My Little Pony is the show itself, I was actually talking to a friend about it the other day because they hadn't seen it yet. And every friend that I've made watch it will be like, Raychelle, it's a cartoon. Like, I'm an adult and I don't need to watch this. And I'm like, no, just do it. Just do it. And so we all laughed because, like, Heather went home and watched a bunch of episodes. And she wrote me and sent me a Snapchat one day. And she was like, I'm crying. And I was like, no, I cry in every episode. Like, it's not even a big deal. They, My Little Pony, just the show itself, if you can get over it, I will tell you right now, if you watch episode 1, the voices sometimes get a little annoying. They're all really high pitched. But if you can get over that and get through a few episodes, you will fall in love with the characters. They're experiencing something that you experience, like, all the way from elementary school to being 45. I mean, everybody can pretend like they don't go through these things, but they do. Like, as you get older, you still go through a lot of stuff. And it basically talks about how you will experience different emotions and how to overcome them. And the biggest thing is it's really kind of like a fairy tale world that we're never going to have, because it's just like, listen, you're mad about this, but here's how to solve it. And it's really, really, really cute. And it's really, really, really funny. I mean, they have one episode, Pinkie Pie loses her mind because her friends are planning a surprise party, but she thinks her friends don't like her because they're all ignoring her because they're trying to plan a surprise party. So Pinkie Pie loses it and starts being friends with Rock and a bag of flour, and, like, she's literally, like, having a party there, and it's just ridiculous. Like, it's so much fun. Like, every adult and child I've ever talked to, every time they watch it, they crack up. Like, I mean, it's just so funny to everyone, and that's what's great about it. And bronies, I think it's empowering because dudes like this stuff too, whether or not they want to admit it. Like, who doesn't have a guilty pleasure when you go and like watch something and you'll secretly like shed a tear or giggle your butt off, and you just are like, no, I never watched that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and so I think it's just kind of something that they can grab onto and be like, no, I'm proud of it. Like, I watch this. You think it's for girls, but it's not. And I think that that's really empowering and awesome, because it's almost like not letting your little boy play with Barbie dolls. You know, like it's everything's okay. Like, and that's what's really cool. So I think it's just gotten big because it's an awesome show, and and it's empowering.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm going to watch it then. I've heard only good
Definitely.
things from people from all over the spectrum, so I'm definitely going to give it a shot then.
Yeah, and I mean, there's episodes that you're going to watch and you're really like, this is a children's show. But then when those golden episodes happen, you'll be like, oh God, it was totally worth it. Like, it was all worth it to get here. Like, it's great. There are some good ones.
We'll have to start covering it on the podcast here.
I will watch an episode and I will cover it. I promise you that.
That's good. That's perfect. Just talk about it as you go. You're like, I hated this episode, or this is fancy. Here's what I was waiting for. She was right.
Well, I was really jealous of you actually on last week's episode when you got to be on Penn Jillette's team. He's actually, believe it or not, Penn is a hero of mine. I pretty much agree with him across the board.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is it just in the span of this show, all of the celebrity guests and judges that come in? I mean, that must be, for people like us, it would be nuts, I think, just to meet these people.
Well, clearly I fangirl over a lot. I think all of us do a little bit, which is really good. But obviously I got shut down by True Blood, Michael McMillan. But it was really funny to fangirl all over these people. And you don't get to talk to any of them except for Penn, who is my favorite person anyways. Like, I used to watch Penn and Teller's Bullshit all the time. Like, that was
great show.
It is. It's so good. And literally I'll find myself like repeating facts from their show. And people are like, where did you get all this information? Is this a documentary? And I'm like, this is Penn and Teller's Bullshit. Like, clearly you just need to watch it. So I love Penn. Like, I was so freaking excited. And then not only did he get on our team, but I got to sit next to him. So it was like unreal. But also what people didn't get to see was Penn interrupted. Like, you got to see a little bit. He interrupted that. That challenge took like 3 hours, because every time Curtis would talk, Penn would just interrupt and like say a bunch of jokes. And when they would read the rules, Penn would be like, okay, so we're supposed to just say the answer out loud then, right? That's all we do. And like, he just kept doing it and bantering. And it was a lot of fun. But that's one of the reasons my face was so red, because our team was so serious about winning that we were like, Penn, I know you're funny, but you have to win this for us. Like, you can't just tell jokes. Like, don't ruin this. You can't cheat. Like, we really have to win. And so we were kind of panicked because, you know, we were nerds and we're taking Nerdy Game Night very serious. And we're like, listen, we have to win. So it's nerve-wracking at the same time, but God, it was so amazing to meet Penn. He is so freaking funny.
From what I saw so far, you know, Todd's final day was probably the worst. Mm-hmm. And I know in the end everybody made up. Did anybody hold a grudge after that? Or is it just, because I was on his side, actually. I just didn't like how he handled things.
Right.
He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah. Todd's amazing. Like, Todd is a great human being. Todd has had a lot happen in his life, and that's made him the way he is. And I mean, he just couldn't handle it. Like, there was a lot going on. And the thing that's funny is, you know, like, every episode is 3 days worth of filming. So everybody only gets like 44 minutes of 3 days worth of stuff that happened. And so they see all of this, and it just looks like Todd's angry at his team. Todd blows up at Lily for the team. And that's not really what happened. You know, over the, so what was that, the third episode? Yeah. So over the course of like, it'd already been well over a week at this point, we'd all gotten to know each other. And Todd got annoyed with Lily just because of the way she does some of the game and the way that she acts. He thought that it was all a big act, and he was just really tired of it. And he thought that she had like made the team turn against him, when really Todd was not the best at the Rube Goldberg. Me and Todd were actually both worried because we had never built one before, and we were just like, oh no, we're going to be the weakest link. And that happened. And then episode 2, Todd wasn't the best at cosplaying. And so he just kind of ran around in costumes all the time. So he kind of proved to be a weak link for like 2 episodes. So, I mean, he knew it was coming. And so he just blew up on Lily. And it was just really sad because we didn't turn on him. We didn't lie. Like, he knew the whole time what was happening. And that's why he was still cool with me. Like, if everybody watched, like, me and him still had a really good relationship. And that's why, you know, like, that heart to heart we had was actually way longer. It wasn't just me sitting him down and being like, don't do this. Like, it was actually like a full on heart to heart. And Todd is such a beautiful human being. And really, I don't think anybody held any grudges. I mean, of course, there was going to be weird feelings because the green team didn't actually get to see everything that went on. So they just had to go by, you know, what they saw. And so I think Heather may have just been like, I'm not sure about this guy for a while, but we're all like best friends now. And Lily, I think, was just kind of more hurt than anything. So I don't think anybody held on to any grudges. I mean, we all wanted to hug him. The fact that you guys saw Caitlin hug a group of people, by the way, is a huge deal. That girl does not hug. Like, she doesn't. So, I mean, it just shows how close we were.
Yeah, she's definitely the most, I think, when I think of like robotic nerd, not to throw any shade at Kaylin, but, you know, it's kind of like, I'm way smarter than all these people. Well, that's things people don't usually say out loud.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what's funny about Caitlin? Caitlin loves to act like that, but that girl has the biggest heart in the world. Like, she just likes to pretend like she doesn't. Because afterwards, she was texting us, and she was like, I must have had a beer or two, guys, because I don't even remember saying that. So, like, literally, she's so cute. Like, she always goes and says stuff like that. And it's funny that she's robotic, but, like, she is. I always tell people, like, the way they portray her, that is Caitlin. I mean, it is. Like, you're getting Caitlin. I mean, it's not fake. She really is like, well, you know, I'm just really smart, and obviously you don't know what you're doing. And, I mean, she will be like that, but at the same time, she's so great. And she's super easy to work with. To be fair, I know they show Lily crying a lot, but I cry pretty much in every episode. And Caitlin and I worked really well together. I mean, like, so well. So she's not a complete robot. She is a heart.
Who were you closest to in the house? Was it someone in the Secret Six?
I would say, man, I really made friends with everybody, like, immediately. Todd was my best friend immediately going into the house. And after that, I would say probably Jonathan. Me and Jonathan made a really good alliance. So we were pretty good friends, even though clearly he's the guy that wants to turn on everybody. But him and I were really good friends on the show.
Do you guys stay in touch now?
Yeah, actually the entire cast does. So we visit each other any chance we can get, and we all, I mean, talk all the time. I mean, these are my best friends. Like, seriously, it's insane. I can't believe it because it seems so silly. Like, people, I don't know. I used to laugh and watch reality shows, and I'm like, what a joke. Like, I would watch The Bachelor, and I'm like, how dumb. Like, there's no way that you really like this person. You just met him. Like, calm down. You just like the vacations. And, like, literally, I can tell you, being on a reality show, everything is in fast forward. I mean, it really is. You're stuck in this house with only these people, and you go through such a string of emotions. Like, you have so much anxiety, so much excitement. Sometimes you're just down in the dumps. You go through all of this, and it forces you to be close immediately or hate each other immediately. I mean, it could go either way. And literally, by the end of the show, it felt like we knew each other our entire lives. We literally just did not feel like strangers at all because we were, like, sleeping by these people, like eating with these people, waking up with these people, like, I mean, everything all the time.
That's awesome.
Well, before you go, I have a request for you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I would like you to do a certain impression for me. Can you guess what it might be?
Are you going to have me do the Predator noise?
Can you do that, or is that not enough time to get you ready in the mode?
I can. Let me grab a drink of water because sometimes my throat gets dry and it just won't happen. So let's see if I can get a cup of water. Awesome. It's really fun. I made a little YouTube video on how to make the noise. I thought I
saw it. I tried it.
Well. Did you try it?
I failed totally.
What's funny is my grandma called me afterwards and was like, "Oh, I watched your video and I tried and I failed at all the noises." And I was like, "Oh, good. I guess I'm not a good teacher then. I'm sorry."
I'll just be the guy who does the Arnold thing and yelling like, "Get to the chopper."
That works too. That's good. A good Arnold impression goes a long way. So.
Get to the chopper.
Okay, let's give it a go. I don't know if you can hear it via the phone.
Oh, I can hear it. It's freaking me out. Is he here and I just can't see it camouflaged? I don't know.
Turn the lights off.
The only difference with Real Predator is there's almost like an echo tone to his. So if I just had something like echoing it, and then you have to have the head turning. Like, you've always got to do like the creepy head turning. I didn't do it enough on the show. I smiled. So it wasn't very scary.
What you can't tell over here is I'm actually covered in mud, so you wouldn't be able to see me anyway.
That's perfect. See? Just do a voiceover and you'll be covered in mud and be invisible, and I'll just do you can just open your mouth and everybody can see your teeth, and it would be super scary.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on here. You were actually my favorite from the first episode, so it was really great to get you on. And it's been said often, but I'm going to just say it one more time. Nerds definitely rule.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Nerds rule the world. I know it. You know it. And thank you for having me. You guys have been a blast. I love listening to your podcast, and I love everything that you post on Twitter. It's a lot of fun.